the uh, should I start with like the Jehovah's Witness thing?
Man, go. Yeah. I mean, I'm interested in that.
Okay, I grew up Jehovah's Witness. Well, to be technical, my parents converted to Jehovah's Witnesses when I was very young. So I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. I remember having a Christmas,
Mm,
maybe 5 or 6 years old, and then not having Christmas anymore.
mm,
I am not the hugest fan of how the Western world does Christmas, but kids love it. And as a kid, it was pretty great. I was very happy to get presents, and then we didn't get presents anymore, and I'd have to go to school in January, and everybody would be like, "Oh, what did you get for Christmas?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't celebrate Christmas." Kind of sucked. Um, but the hardest thing about being Jehovah's Witness, I think, there's kind of two things really. One is the social isolation. They don't let their children be friends with non-Jehovah's Witnesses, which also means that their children can't play sports or do any extracurricular activities. And so it becomes very isolated. And I was a curious kid. I wanted to do everything. And so I spent a lot of time. I wanted to have friends. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to have girlfriends. I wanted to run for school office. I wanted to participate in school plays. All that stuff that I never did because I was Jehovah's Witness, and I ended up becoming, I think, more turned in on myself. I read like maybe 400 books one year for a school reading contest because I was like, can't do anything, so I might as well read. Um, and then the other thing that's hard about being Jehovah's Witness is that they don't let you really think or question what they teach, and including they don't let you learn about other religions. So I knew what we believed about everything that was sort of sent down from the central office, but I didn't really know what it was like to be a not Jehovah's Witness. Like I didn't know what non Jehovah's Witnesses thought about anything. We're not allowed to read those books. So I think I lost trust in them in my early teenage years, um, and began the long countdown of waiting to be free,
mm.
waiting for 18, um, while still being forced to go like door to door and go to church 3 times a week or go to the Kingdom Hall 3 times a week. They have their own jargon for everything. But I was left thinking it was a very shallow religion that wouldn't stand up to questioning. Um, like they have these one of their proofs for why the Bible is true is how all these biblical prophecies turned out to predict this and that. And I'm like, well, you could just like read them that way after the fact, right? Like it doesn't take a genius to figure out these tricks. So I went to college and I left that as soon as I could and was an atheist. But you asked a question about my parents and my family, right? Like how did they take it? Um, yeah, most Jehovah's Witnesses do practice shunning. So they cut people off who leave the faith. But at that time, uh, the guideline was that people who were directly related to the person who left could still talk to them. And so, not that everyone did, but I didn't know how it would go. I told my parents I wasn't going to be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. Sort of after the first semester of my first year of college, my freshman year, and then I knew that that would mean that I couldn't go home anymore, but I didn't know how much I was going to hear from them anymore. Um, and I mean, one of the reasons why I love my dad is I think that he's a very loving man. He has a very big heart, and he held his son to be more important than his whatever the strictest form of his faith would be.
Mm.
So he came to visit me in college. He came to make sure that I had everything I needed. He took me grocery shopping because money was very tight, and I wasn't eating very well. And he even hired me to. He had a little side business doing yards, and he hired me to do some yards with him. And I'm like, I didn't like put words to this at the time, but I think later, and at that time, I think there was some sort of realization that, oh, my dad loves me.